I would make him favourite for this, because I think Ignacio might just play a little too loose for his own good. We will see.
Here we go. Last 16 action. This is the lag nearest the top rail. Will break first. It's going to be Johann Chua to start this match off.
Chua got the lag in the bag. Very good. And with him, if motivation is the best attribute to have, well, he's right at the top of the league. In terms of the World 9-ball rankings, Chua is 10th, Ignacio 40th.
No shot on the blue too. Decent break though. It's always nice to start the match and you know you make that one ball in the side pocket. That's the intention. Well, this table's been covered up for all week, so it's brand spanking new, this table. Not a single ball has been played on it.
Yeah, needs breaking in. Sometimes when that's the case, the pockets initially play a little bit more generous. We will see.
Well, Jeffrey Ignacio had a good look at the two there, Phil, and you've just called, you've got Chua favourite. I'm with you. And that's because I think Jeffrey just throws a few silly misses in here and there. Not left a pot though.
Yeah, Ignacio's first match of the week was on this main table, actually. He beat a Vietnamese local, 9-3, Tran Trung An, and even though he won comfortably on the scoreboard, he was really slapdash at times.
It's actually a very good effort. See how close he got to potting that two ball.
Now, from what we saw with that shot, maybe the cushions aren't quite as lively as the other tables, but that's because it's still being bedded in, as Carl mentioned.
You know, these players have played thousands of racks of 9-ball, hours and hours. But there's nothing like starting a match off and just nicking that first rack as it misses the pink 4 in the corner.
Because of perceptible upper body movement.
You know, the one thing I think of when I think of Johann Chua is talent, Phil. No doubt about it. What worried me is his performance in that final against Mickey Kraus. He played so good right up until the final and then just completely fell away in the final, missing ball after ball, just couldn't get going. Poor safeties.
Yes, as is the case here, these major World 9-ball Tour ranking events have the semi-finals and final played on the same day. That was the situation in Fulda. And Chua, in his semi-final against Shane Van Boening, was outstanding. He won 11-5 going away, and then, as you say, Cole, against Kraus in the title match, he was nowhere near as effective.
Well, the first rack of the day is actually on the board, and it's a certain Catchy, not Eklund Catchy. It's Cledio Catchy, his younger brother.
Yeah, Cledio 1-0 up on James Arenas, and the winner of that match will play the winner of this one in the quarterfinals this evening.
Don't believe he played for the 8-ball in this pocket.
Just about wobbled in.
Yeah, definitely feeling it at the start of this match.
Johann Chua is a popular figure wherever he plays around the world. And I'll tell you what, if he were to win the overall tournament, I think he would be a very popular champion. He was my pick, by the way, at the start of the week, Carl, as you well know. I just thought I'd throw that one out there.
Yeah, I've not forgot, Phil. I've actually gone with the Jason Shaw pick. I'm going for back-to-back wins. That was the break. It was a nice break and all. Didn't really get any luck on the lowest ball. This was an unusual miss. The safety was poor from Ignacio. That left him that pot, and the rest was history. We had a little bit of drama in the opening rack, but Chua will be delighted to see that 8-ball fall.
Yeah, we were just talking there about Jason Shaw and the possibility of a title defence. Well, he's gone 1-0 down to Edward Koyonjian of Indonesia, a player that we know very little about, will readily admit it. He's come from nowhere into prominence here. David Al-Qaidi, we know a lot about him, double World Masters champion from Spain. He's taken the first rack from Ko Pin Yi.
Yeah, the Open events, 256 players. And these tournaments are all about giving pool players around the world opportunities. 128 players are professionals on the WNT. So obviously then we've got another 128 to join the Open events. And if you look at Harry Vergara, he was a qualifier. He won a qualifier right before this tournament, Phil, and he's come here. He's in the last 16. He's about to play 5-time US Open champ Shane Van Boening.
Yeah, I suppose the sporting equivalent would be one of those Monday qualifiers for a PGA Tour event going on to lift the trophy in golf. What a story that would be, as you say. Well, he's having some rubs already. He missed in the first rack, as Carl said, got away with it, and again, there.
Yeah, what was surprising there is the pace he played it. He could have played that a little bit firmer. Whenever you roll the ball full table length, you're asking for trouble. Needs a ball here. Okay. Ignacio's turn to get away with one.
By the way, Cledio Catchy is now 2-0 up on James Arenas.
You can see the left side of this ball. Possible bank, more of the safety really. No, the bank's not on. This needs to go, Phil. This needs to go. Okay, he's left the pot. It's awkward because if you look where the 8-ball is, the cue ball wants to run into that ball. So how do you get on the pink 4? I mean, these two boys they look like a couple of F1 drivers.
Well, Ignacio certainly plays fast.
Oh, he could just avoid the 8, but it was still difficult because of where the pink 4 was. So he took a bit of his medicine there, which is totally fine. He's got a good safety shot on here, though. He can split the balls, get the pink 4 on the bottom short rail, keep the cue ball up towards the top short rail. Or he could run the cue ball down. Yeah, so he's running the cue ball down. This may have gone wrong. Oh, this is a shocker, Phil. This is a shocker.
He intermingles brilliance with blunders.
That was not a difficult safety. It really wasn't. It was obvious, the safety shot. So to play it that bad and leave a pot. There's a little bit of nerves out there for this last 16 match. I wonder how well they know each other, these two. The reason why I say that, Phil, it's like, you know, Ko Ping Chung and Ko Ping Yi, whenever them two play each other, the two brothers, well, it's an absolute nightmare. They can't play against each other, so, you know, these may be close friends. We don't know.
Well, I'm sure they know each other well. They're pretty much contemporaries. But the way Chua started, missing a handful of balls now, not a good sign.
Yeah, this one table setup, you know, in this beautiful arena. There's obviously 4 tables in play right now, and obviously the fans that have come here to watch still have their favourite players or a particular match they want to watch. So people might have wandered off to table 2 and 3 and they just want to have a nosy, but this very much feels like the main table. Obviously you've got the camera crew and they know it's on live TV around the world, and it's not been the best of starts. Maybe it's getting to both players a little bit. That could be concerning for Team Asia, because I'll tell you what, playing on the one table setup in the team event Reyes Cup, that is going to be pretty scary, Phil.
It is. Ignacio isn't in the team, but Johann Chua most certainly is, and there he was the architect of his own downfall. It's 1-1. Ignacio, he's not had a bad 2024 by any stretch of the imagination. Won events in Indonesia and Japan, quarter-finalist at the World 9-Ball Championship, losing out to Eklund Kachi in the end. He got to the last 16 of the Worlds in 2017. Add into that, last 32 appearances in this season's UK Open and US Open. And he's been around on the international stage for a decade. First made a big impact by being runner-up at the 2014 China Open. You can watch Jeffrey Ignacio one day, and if you're seeing him for the first time, you'll think he's an also-ran. You could watch him the next day, and you would think he was a world beater. The difference between his worst and his best is gigantic.
Yeah, and I suppose that's what makes him exciting to watch. You don't really know what you're going to get. Both players have got to a good start breaking the balls, though. I think they've made the one every break, Phil, so far. And he's got a good look at the blue 2 here. This is a nice split. Watch where the blue 2 ends up. Yeah, it stays on this side of the table. He's got an angle, so he can float over to the left. Probably play the red 3 down the long rail into that bottom corner pocket where the 8 ball is. This is too hard. He's just got down and whacked it. I can't believe that.
My theory on Jeffrey Ignacio is that he plays these strange shots because I think he's really nervous and he can't contain himself, and he just has to play a shot sometimes a little too soon.
Showing the class there, though. He just rolls it in. It's over the pocket. That was not easy. That was super thin. Got to be careful here. Whenever the ball's right in the pocket, it can make you look a little bit foolish at times. He'll take that. That's all right.
Because of his inconsistency from almost shot to shot, he must be quite difficult to play. Because on occasions, opponents might think, I've got him here, and he suddenly turns on the turbochargers. On other occasions, opponents might be really concerned, and then out of the blue he makes a mistake such as that.
Yeah, that was just purely rushed, Phil. That is not nerves. Think about your shot. Make sure you get into the cue ball. It's like he's too good for himself. He just backs himself just to clear up in no time at all.
I 75% agree with you. That wasn't nerves that caused the bad shot, but I think it might be nerves that causes him to rush.
Yeah, you just want to say, Jeffrey, just chill out. You know, just look at the shot. Even if he looks at it for another 5 seconds, it would improve his game leaps and bounds. I mean, it was such an easy shot to get on the ground 7, and well, we're going to see a bit of a shot here. I think Chua might chase the 8 ball with the cue ball. It's what we call a carom. Decided to play the bank, and what a bank it was. That was beautifully controlled.
It's not really appropriate to pick fault with this. The only thing you can say, he's left that cue ball close to the side rail with not a lot of angle on the 8 ball. But I'm still astounded he missed it. I am still astounded he missed it. Maybe Chua took a gamble there, trying to cheat the pocket a little. And the gamble backfired, because Jeffrey Ignacio, in what's been an error-strewn match so far, leads 2-1. Welcome back to the penultimate day of the Hanoi Open of 2024, sponsored by Mansion Sports. Small sample size, yes, but so far mistakes have far outweighed magic in this one. Jeffrey Ignacio hasn't played well, and yet he's 2-1 up.
I'll tell you what, he is doing well though. Both players have broke well so far. The 1 ball has been potted every single time. He's got to look at this blue too. You're going to have to use the bridge though. And Phil, you know as well as me, pool players are not good with the bridge. As I was saying, pool players are not good with the bridge.
Yeah, the current world snooker champion, Karen Wilson, is an absolute magician when he's using the rest. And I think that's one of the aspects of 9 ball that pretty much all of the top players could work on. You don't get to use it very often, do you, because of the small dimensions of the table. But I think it's worth polishing up that skill.
Yeah, and a lot of what the pool players do, is they play left-handed, they'll switch hands, but obviously you couldn't reach with either hand there. I think the best out-and-out pool player I've seen with the bridge is Shane Van Bonen. I mean, Jason Shaw will be in a league of his own. Even somebody like Chris Mellin, he would be great with it, because obviously they've played a bit of snooker, haven't they? But for an out-and-out actual pool player, I think Shane's pretty decent with it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Table 1 is agreeing with David Al-Qaidi. He's just taken a 3-1 lead over Kopin-Yi. Jason Shaw 2-1 up on Edward Koyonjian after being 1-0 down. And Claudio Cacci 2-1 over James Arenas.
The positional shot went wrong, didn't it? So he's in a funny spot. Is he trying to get the cue ball over near the pink 4? No, he's not. He's trying to get back on the 7. This needs to go. That's way light of pace. A little bit of a concerned look on the face of Chua. Chua's put himself in jail here. Going to be kicking or jumping at the ball. I think it's the short stick. Possibly pot the 9 ball. Wasn't great, was it? It was all a little bit clumsy. Have you seen a golden break this week, Phil?
Not personally.
Yeah, I was speaking to Michael in comms yesterday. I've not seen one.
And of course there was all that concern, wasn't it, a few years ago at the World Masters when we saw 15 in a 16-player event. 15 of the golden breaks that get the crowd going. Well, that might get Johann Chua going. Another major error.
Yeah, and it was with the bridge. This is a very edgy start for both of these players. Kind of get the feeling if one of them can settle and settle quick, they could steamroll the other opponent. That's the sort of vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Chua's more likely because Ignacio has been a little edgy from the very start of the tournament. Watching an entire run out from the top shot. No top shots needed in that clearance. It was pretty straightforward at this level. Johann Chua back on level terms with Jeffrey Ignacio at 2-2. Now, when the Philippines, as an unseeded team, won the World Cup in Lugo, Spain last year, Chua's partner was James Arenas. Chua was the lead partner. His shot making that week was simply brilliant, and he always seemed to produce at exactly the right time. Well, James Arenas is playing at the moment on table 15, 3-2 up on Claudio Cacci. So the two World Cup teammates, who I believe were 25-1 with the bookmakers before that event began, the two World Cup teammates are on a collision course to actually meet each other in the quarterfinals.
Trying to put that yellow one in the left centre pocket. Can he achieve that goal? Yes, he can. This is more like it. He's got a good look at the blue too. All the balls are in the open.
Now that was better. That was a confidence builder, because we know that potting into these middle bags, Carl, is not easy.
It's not easy, but he's giving himself a little bit of work to do. Pay attention to where the 8-ball has finished. It's an awkward spot on a pool table. And the 9-ball is on the left side of the table. So this could be pretty interesting. Threading the needle through the gap. Probably wanted it to bounce off that rail a little bit. Yeah, see where he's looking with his cue? He can sort of only land high on the purple 5. Wondering if he'd like to land on a similar angle on the green 6 to where the cue ball is now. That type of angle, because he could draw back and just go into the 8, knowing he'd land on the brown 7. And this is all very adventurous, don't get me wrong. Let's see where he lands here. I tell you what, is he going to take a gamble and play the shot I've suggested? He'll be having a look, you know. Just because it's very difficult, Phil, to get from that 8-ball to the 9. So he might draw back and try and flick the 8 out. Let's have a look. Yeah, smart play. Didn't really hit power though. Could have done with more power. Trying to get the 8-ball further down and even try and get the cue ball off. Now he's in another hole.
And with the cue ball under the cushion, he missed a much easier 8 than this into the same pocket. That was much better. Much better. But the 8 requires all of his attention.
Never looked in, did it? Halfway up, he never looked in. Many years ago, that might have fell in the pocket, believe it or not.
Yeah, which would have been ludicrous, let's face it.
He can cut this in, you know. He can definitely cut this ball in. Got to hit it super fine. Well, he's missed it on the way through, though. Needs a bit of luck. He's not going to get it. Not an easy shot, that, from Ignacio. They can make you look a bit foolish, them ones. This could make you look foolish. I think you've got to pop this ball playing ball and run forward with the cue ball. You don't want to start digging down on these. That makes the pop more difficult. Yeah, see how he's playing with a flat cue? He knows it's just about potting the ball. Cue ball may even bump into the 9. Oh, nice. I like it. Good shot.
Kept it simple, that was the mantra there. But the way this match has gone, the 9 isn't a gimme. Needs to keep still. He was still. And now Johann Chua is back in front at 3-2. I think he is prone to attacks of nerves, Chua, but I think his opponent is even more prone to them. Jason Shaw loves pressure. He orders it for breakfast, and he's going nicely on table 2, 3-1 up on Edward Koyonjian. One has to say, and be truthful about this, Shaw's had a pretty good draw so far. But if he wins this match, he's guaranteed much tougher opposition next. It will be David Al-Qaedi or Copigny in the quarterfinals for the Scot. Al-Qaedi leading 3-1 in that match.
Yeah, well brought up, Phil. I thought the same, you know, when we come into today, and obviously Jason's playing his last 16 match. Listen, it's not always about the draw, but I think he will openly admit he's sort of found his way in with a good little route.
And just to update you, David Al-Qaedi now 4-1 up on Copenhagen.
Playing his way into form, Al-Qaedi. It's pleasant to see. Because in a couple of days' time, we'll be flying off to Manila for the Reyes Cup.
And a certain Carl Boys is captain, so David Al-Qaedi finding some form and confidence is good for you.
Yeah, obviously Shaw's winning, he's in the team. We got Ruiz, he's playing a little later against Skylar Woodward, who's the captain of the US Mosconi Cup team. Mickey Krause lost 10-9 to Shane Van Bonen.
He did, but he played a very good match. That's the cruelty of 9-ball pool. Ignacio has played some sketchy matches this week and won. Krause played a really good match and lost.
Yeah, I spoke to Mickey Krause. He was fine. He said, listen, I played well all week, so it can happen. You just got to keep going. He can just look forward to playing his first ever major team event now. And of course the inaugural Reyes Cup. What an accolade to have on your CV, playing in the first ever Reyes Cup European team.
And depending on results this week, even though he can't influence them now himself, Mickey Krause, he could be making the Mosconi Cup team for Europe in addition.
Nice shot. He didn't have a load of room past the 6th ball because of the pocket, so he just found that little gap. Kind of giving off the impression now he's just starting to settle in. He's took 6 racks, mind.
Mixed bag when it comes to playing from close to cushions with the cue ball, but he did knock in a really good 7 in the last rack. And now this should be very much with these capabilities. That is 3 racks in succession for Johann Chua. It's why he's turned a 2-1 deficit into a 4-2 lead. Last 16 matches, indeed quarter-final matches, in the Mansion Sports Hanoi Open are a race to 10. That means Johann Chua breaking off here needs this rack to be halfway home. We were talking about a golden break, and there one goes in. Carl, you mentioned it, and they delivered.
Here it is, and it's the one that we usually see. It's the cue ball off the side rail straight into the 9. Down she goes, quick rack.
And by the way, earlier when I said I hadn't seen one, I was thinking about it, you know. I have seen one before, so that's the second personally I've seen this week. They've not been coming thick and fast, but I think it always energises the crowd.
Yeah, when they do come, you never know, do you? They're always nice when you're breaking, and that happens. It just feels like a free rack.
And we've seen instances, I think Shane Van Boning did it on the way to winning the World Championship, where players have had consecutive golden breaks. I remember a World Masters final against Darren Appleton where SVP benefited from more than one. Means our referee is called into action a little earlier than she might have imagined. Tran Khan Lin having to re-rack the balls straight after doing it for rack 7. Here's the 8th. Well, the 9 was in motion again. Didn't reach the middle pocket, it was going too high anyway. The most important thing about this break, Carl, is that Chua can't get through to the potting angle on the 2.
Yeah, you can see a little edge there, you can see there from that angle what he's faced with.
Interesting developments on the other tables. James Arenas 5-2 on Claudio Cacci. Jason Shaw was 3-1 up on Edward Keonjian. It's now 3-3. And Kopin has pulled a rack back against David Al-Qaedi. Al-Qaedi's lead 4-2. Now that was much more like it from Ignacio.
Yeah, very tidy safety shot that was. Taking options out as well. So he's got to go this way. 2 rails. That will be a foul. And this could be end of rack, because look at where the 2 and the 9 ball is, Phil. This will tempt him.
Yes, remember, after a foul, it is ball in hand. So the 7th rack was rapid. The 8th, the same. There it's a 2-9 combo, and the score reaches 5-3. This is a graphic illustration of the fluidity of 9-ball pool. It's a quick game.
Yeah, it's very quick. It's not boring to watch. Even when you get a rack where there's safety shots to be played, 3 or 4 shots, usually someone's fouled or trying to play some sort of jump shot or a bank shot. It's a very fast-paced cue sport. It's very easy on the eye.
And so much depends on when you knock in that 1 ball where the 2 finishes. It did no favours for Chua. In fact, it broke his momentum because Ignacio was able to play a really good hook. Chua fouled, and that 2-9 combination was the consequence. Just a reminder of our last 16 matches coming up later this afternoon. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz against Skylar Woodward, Carlo Biardo against Koping Chung, Harry Vergara, the qualifier, against the might of Shane Van Boning, and Andriy Janoata against Jeffrey Rodder.
Dry break. Play passes over. Chua's hooked on the yellow one. He doesn't have to play the shot, he can play the push. Push out is where the player can just literally tap the cue ball, or they can roll it into any area on the table. They can even pot another ball. The big deal with the push, though, is your opponent comes to the table and has the option of playing the shot or putting you back in. So, for instance, he wouldn't just roll the cue ball in right behind the brown 7, because Jeffrey would just say, "Carry on, Johann." I have a feeling he's going to say, "Carry on, Johann," here, because where's he pushed to there?
I'd be astonished if Ignacio took this one on. Yeah, not a great amount of thought, and there's no need for it.
No, he didn't even come round the bottom end of the table to have a proper look at the angle. He just he clocked it from up there and thought, carry on, buddy. He's got the jump cue in his hand, so he's going airborne. Yeah, potting it in the corner was a very, very low percentage.
Title holder Jason Shaw back in front against Edward Koyonjian at 4-3. It is one of the great mysteries of 9-ball pool, how good Ignacio can be and how often he plays shots like that.
Taking his time here, kind of looks like it's a little bit obvious to get on the blue too, but obviously it's awkward.
Chua's a quick player, but he's being made to look comparatively slow because Ignacio just gets down and pulls the trigger.
Wants to be kind of straight on the red 3. I think he's got a bit of an angle, yeah, he's got to go high above the pink 4. Play the pink 4 down into the bottom left corner. That's ideal, he's got a lovely little angle as well. Purple 5 will be the next ball. Seems to have just settled, doesn't he, Phil? The opening few racks was a little worrying, but he's found his groove, it seems.
Yeah, most definitely. Pre-match favourites, and those odds are shortening all the time. What a remarkable achievement though, Carl, to get 6 Filipinos in the last 16 of this tournament. When you consider the next best country, well, it's joint between Spain, USA, Chinese Taipei and Indonesia. They've got 2 representatives. Philippines have got 6.
Yeah, and do you know what, Phil? It's always been the case over the years. Whenever we've had a decent amount of Filipino pool players enter, you can bet your bottom dollar come the end of the tournament there's still a few there.
Well, the currency here isn't dollars, it's dong. We thought this might be a ding-dong battle, but at the moment Johann Chua is clearly the better player. He's doubling up on Jeffrey Ignacio. He leads 6-3. Hanoi, a thriving hotbed of 9-ball pool. Hundreds of clubs in this city. They love the game and they love Johann Chua. He'll be loving the scoreboard at the moment, 6-3 up. He'll also be loving the fact his opponent's struggling, but he'll be hating the fact he's scratched on the break.
Yeah, that's one of them unfortunate ones. It just kicks off the bottom of the 9, scratches in the corner, nothing you can do about it. Always feel like it evens itself out. He's had a golden break, hasn't he? So he's not going to be sat in his chair complaining. Things are going okay. chose to play for the red 3 in the side pocket, Ignacio. Doesn't seem too bad, he's just sizing up where he wants the cue ball, because he's got a bit of a shot to play when he gets on the pink 4. He might be able to hold the gap to play a long purple 5. He's concerned about something. Wow, look at this. Look at this for a shot. What is that?
I'll give you one word, appalling. That's what it is. Appalling.
He just followed the cue ball straight into the bucket. He was concerned though, wasn't he, Phil? He didn't want to leave it just rolling through. He sort of talked his way out of that one. I think he's missed a trick.
A directing off on a pot like that at this level, for someone with his skill set, which is very high, there's no forgiveness there, is there? We must emphasise Jeffrey Ignacio at his best. He's a wizard.
Well, he was a quarter-finalist in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia at the World Championships, let me tell you. The kid has got game.
What a gift for Chua. He could never have envisaged he would be back to the table after a scratch such as that. Well, again, a mistake he can't quite believe.
Well, he's kind of smiling, I suppose, at times. That's all you can do.
I thought we might see a few pressure-induced mistakes in this match, but I never in my wildest imagination thought we'd see so many. And as if to prove my point,
I think somebody needs to tell these two 9 balls about potting balls, Phil. The occasion seems to be a little bit too much for Ignacio. This needs to get past the 9. It's got to.
yeah, Chua's not been flawless by any means. He's missed some sitters as well, but he has been the better player. It's one of those matches you can't take your eye off it, because anything could be potted, but conversely anything could be missed, including this. Johann Chua extends his lead to 7-3. He was guilty of a major mistake in that rack, but Jeffrey Ignacio was guilty of 2. Now what about the scores around this arena? Well, James Arenas is 6-3 up on Claudio Caci. Jason Shaw being given a tough early workout by Edward Koyonjian. The little-known Indonesian 4-4 with Shaw. And David Al-Kadi 5-2 up on Ko Pin Yi. So there's the scratch on the break. The missed 5 ball. He won't miss one of those in a month of Sundays.
Yeah, and this was Ignacio. He had a chance to steal the rack. He missed the green 6. That was all she wrote. Chua wins another rack off an Ignacio mistake.
I'm trying to think of a player that Ignacio reminds me of, and to a certain extent because of how quickly he plays and sometimes how he throws in a very unusual miss. How about last year's World Championship runner-up Mohamed Soufi from Syria? Soufi is similar to Ignacio in that when he catches fire, he's absolutely outstanding.
I think he can just get through, can't he? Looks like he could. No, he can't. This could be double punishment for Jeffrey. Oh, this lacks pace though.
One of those shots where it was a case of leave the cue ball anywhere but short.
Cue ball's going to finish on the rail. As long as he's got angle, he'll take that. It was a good putt actually. It was very thin, that. You remember when he won that World Cup of Pool, Phil, with James Aranas, who is also in the last 16. Aranas playing Claudio Cacci, 6-3 actually to Aranas. That's when Johann Chua really sort of come alive, didn't he, in the world of 9-ball on the TV stage, because some of the shots he was pulling out in the Scotch doubles matches, he really showed us the talent he possesses.
Indeed, Scotch doubles, which is alternate shot, has the effect of interrupting your rhythm, but it didn't seem to bother Chua. He was brilliant that week and definitely the lead partner in that triumph. And with every passing rack in this match, he looks like being the man to triumph as well. 8-3 now. Ignacio has to improve considerably. Good news for the many fans of Eagle Eye. Jason Shaw, he's regained the lead once more against Edward Koyonjian at 5-4. Kopinyi fighting back against David Al-Khadi. Al-Khadi's lead is 5-3. And as Carl mentioned, James Aranas 6-3 up on Claudio Cacci. The winner of that match will play the winner of Chua against Ignacio. Okay, Carl, highlight of the week so far for you.
Highlight of the week. Well, I think your good self buying me a drink last night. Does that count as a highlight?
An unusual highlight, yeah. I thought you might have said me waddling across the intersection at a higher rate of knots when that onset of bikes and cars were coming towards us. I don't think I've moved so fast this millennium.
It's all right. I was there to look after you, Phil. I think the highlight of the week, you know, I think I've got to go with Harry Vergara. Won a qualifier right before this event, and now he plays SVB in the final 16.
Yeah, it's a legitimate highlight, that. My personal one would be the match I commentated on yesterday between Mickey Kraus and Shane Van Boning. Van Boning 9-6 down, coming back to win 10-9. Kraus played some lovely pool in that match, but ultimately denied when he undercut what was a very tricky 5-ball.
Well, Chua's looking good here, isn't he? This is a very, very kind split. You know, we're talking about matches. Me and Michael did the Carlo Biardo AJ Manas match yesterday. It was a battle of Biardo, the elder Filipino, against the young 17-year-old prodigy, the talent, which is AJ Manas. And AJ Manas last year won the Junior Open event here in Hanoi. He come back this year to play in the main event. Biado beat him 10 racks to 9, and it was a brilliant match. It had everything, and Manas, what a young talent he is, just fearless, just runs around the table and attacks it like he's not got a care in the world.
All of that was true until the business end, when he started to show a little frailty.
Well, there's been frailty in this match. Chua started a little frail, but he's ended this match lovely. He's 3 balls away from getting himself on the hill. That's ideal. This little bounce means he'll have an easy 9 ball, because the cue ball will come away from the rail.
Yes, and if he knocks in the 9 ball, that means he's won 8 of the last 9 racks. One has to say, Jeffrey Ignacio has not put in a good performance at all. Not surprised he's leaving the arena right now, but it might be a little too late to take that time out, because Johann Chua is 6 racks up with a possible 7 to play. He's on the hill. They call Jeffrey Ignacio the Cobra. He's not displayed much venom so far, and now he's a rack away from defeat and from elimination.
Yeah, it's the fish who's winning the battle here. Johann Chua, nickname Bad Koi. I think he can get through to the blue too. If he can, this is a chance for the match. It's clearly very tight. I wonder how close to the rail it is. If it's near the rail, he might be tempted just to try and hit the rail first to pot it.
One of those situations, Cole, where if this shot works out, it could be the beginning of the end.
Oh, that was beautiful from Johann Chua. He went rail first, potted it clean. He's on the 3 ball.
Always work to do. That old cliche about the final rack is sometimes the hardest to win. Not always, but there's extra pressure.
He could possibly pot the 9 in the centre. It's an outside chance. Yeah, you see how it was going over near it? He wasn't really bothered about that. It was all about making sure you get on the 5, but it was always going to go over near the side. What a chance this is now.
It's looking really good for Johann Chua, looking increasingly good for Jason Shaw. Defending champion now 7-4 up on Edward Koyonjian. Kopin Yi getting back within striking distance of David Al-Qaedi. Al-Qaedi's lead only 5-4. James Arenas 6-4 on Claudio Cacci. But it looks as though the first result of the day will be booked by Chua.
One good shot, get up table for the 8 ball. Any angle will do. You could not put this better with your hand, with ball in hand. A little bit of spin coming onto the long rail for an easy 9 ball. And in the end, Phil, he got stronger and stronger as the match went on.
He most certainly did. Johann Chua coming through very convincingly indeed. One has to say that Jeffrey Ignacio will be dejected, crestfallen by that performance and of course by that result. In the end, it was comfortable for Chua. The World Cup winner from last year remains on course to be the Hanoi Open champion this year. He's into the quarterfinals, the first player to secure his place there by a score of 10 racks to 3.